Hi there, I'm Amber Brandt. I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I am a StoryBrand certified copywriter and an interior decorator. My design business is called The Coziness Consultant, and it's a little different than a lot of people who do interior design because while I do help my clients create beautiful spaces, I'm really motivated to help them create spaces that function well for whatever stage of life they're currently in, and also that their spaces reflect their values and their family culture and who they really are, and help them live better into those values. I think a lot of people see their homes as kind of a catch-all, the place where you're kind of transient in and out doing the rest of your life, but our homes actually really are the backdrop where we're writing the story, where you're tucking your kids in at night and talking about things that matter, right? These are the spaces that are impacting and helping us write that story. Like I said, I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with my husband, Kyle. We've been married 9 years, and we have one daughter, Winslow, who will be 4 in March. And just like you, we're figuring out still, how do we navigate both working from home and being the type of parent that we want to be to her, and maintaining our own mental health and our own relationship. And we're all in a weird space right now where the demands on our homes are really unreasonable. You probably didn't pick your house or design your space to be also a home gym, and also your church, and also your kids' school, and all of the things that your house has to do. So I want to help you just think really strategically about how you can take a good look at your spaces and figure out how to make them work a little bit better. Creating a beautiful space may come more easily to you. You know what you like, maybe colors or pillows. But sometimes figuring out how to make our homes work well for us comes secondary. So first, I think it's important to recognize that your capacity is really limited. We have to be really honest and realistic about the limitations that we're under right now, the demands that we're, having to place, those unreasonable demands that our houses have right now. And just, we can't do it all right now. We can't keep every throw pillow in place. We can't keep all the wheels on, all the dishes done all the time, and still meet our work deadlines and all of the things, right? Like, part of living in your house right now is that you have really limited capacity and limitations, and it just can only do so much for you. But that doesn't mean you can't still find ways to live well in them. So once you can wrap your brain around, right, like, and accept you do have limited capacity, then you have to practice greater intentionality than how you're using the spaces. Is there a lot of clutter? Is there paint color that you hate every time you walk into it? Do you really need new dishcloths because your old ones are ratty? Right? All of those things are small, but they contribute to how we feel in our spaces, how we live in them, and how we are able to connect with each other. So we have to ask some questions. How do we want to live? What do our spaces have to do, right? What are we asking them to do? How are they successfully helping us do the things we need to do? And where are the failures? Where are the pain points, right? Like, every time you sit down to work, do you realize you don't have a pen? Or every time you finally get a second alone, you sit down to read, but the light is too dim. Things like that we just kind of live with, that are ongoing annoyances that we don't really think about fixing, but they do contribute overall to the beauty and aesthetics and functionality of our spaces and how we feel in them, right? Um, Another question, what did we used to do as a family? Like maybe you played games, maybe you had regular game night, or you kicked the soccer ball around outside that you no longer do. And can you figure out how to do those things again? Can you redesign your spaces? Can you reclaim maybe some of the spaces that feel a little out of control to do the things that you want to more intentionally do again? Are you saying yes and no to the right things, right? Like, have you slowed down enough to think, you know, I just I haven't been able to set up my workspace the way I want, and I just always am the last person to get my things done, and I'm just coming in here and I don't have time to breathe or think. You know, backing up to critically look at your spaces, to ensure that they're helping you do the things you want to well is important. And the way that they're laid out, even if it's as simple as bringing a candle into your workspace and taking 2 seconds and lighting it before you get to work, that brings beauty. And maybe like, or you're diffusing essential oils or something, that there's scent in the air that's relaxing, that makes that space feel special for that task. And it also boosts your own productivity and mental health in this space. Um, Identifying pain points helps you then to be able to find solutions. For instance, let's say your son or daughter is doing their schoolwork in a room that has, two big bookshelves, and you're not actually using any of those books right now. Could you remove those bookshelves and actually give them more space to work? Could you remove or add curtains to a window, right? To either help give you more creativity or less distraction. Are there things that you can just think really critically about in each of your spaces to redesign them for greater functionality and to help you use that space the very best that you can? One thing that I encourage people to do when they're looking for solutions for how to fix a space, you may not be able to put your finger exactly on what's not right, but when you sit down on the couch and you need a lumbar pillow, you know it. Or, when every time, like I said, every time you sit down to do your work, you finally get there and you don't have an ink pen handy, or you left your computer bag in the other room, you're not in the habit of putting it in here because you need a hook or you need a place to put it. Those seem like really small things, but over the long term, right, they contribute largely to your frustration or your inability to be productive or to finally feel ready to work when you get into a space. And I think with parenting too, as we're talking about this, it's like when your when your spouse's work is done and your work is done and it's time to set aside to interact with your kids or to play with a toddler, can you easily clean up a room? Do you need baskets? Do you need things that are aesthetic and pretty, but they also serve a function for helping you get those tasks put away quickly so that you can focus on one another? Having a family meeting about things like this, talking to the other individuals in your family and saying, what has been frustrating to you? What isn't working well? Is a great way to come up with a solution. Having a make under of a room, removing things that no longer serve you well or don't make sense for this season is another solution. And getting a second pair of eyes, asking for some help is also a great idea. In my business, I do virtual consults, and I would be more than happy to hop on a call with you and take a look at your space and give you some ideas to make it more functional and more beautiful for you. I'm always here to help. The best way to find me is thecozinessconsultant.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook at The Coziness Consultant, and recently on Clubhouse at my first and last name. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am more than happy to help you. And on all of those social networks, I often provide really useful tools to help you.